Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, sir.
Now let's get started. Okay, so today we are going to start with Power Query data, that is the data transformation. Yeah. Now, for the data transformation, um, we need to go to transform data, which will take us to the Power Query data. So before we go there, we have an option here called as data source settings. So let's see what is that. Now, this data source setting is used to, if you want to change the file path of your Excel, if you have Excel file or CSV file, if you need to change the server name, if you have SQL as the connection, yeah. So any changes to the source, like the server change, the database change, or if you need to connect to that database using a separate credentials or a different credentials, you can do that using the data source settings. Yeah. So now we only have two Excel data sources. That's why it is giving me two as the list here. Yeah. Okay. And let's say that this Excel file has been moved to a different location, yeah, for example. So if I need to change that here, what I can do is I can select the source and I can say change source. Okay. So I can say change source. Yeah. And then I can change the folder path or the file path. Yeah. And I can connect to that source there. Now let's say that the credentials are changed. That means the access credentials have changed. So you need to change the credentials as well. So you can click on the edit permissions and then you can change the credentials. Now, as it is an Excel, it doesn't have a access based um, connection. So it's not coming here. Yeah. So now let's say that if I connect to a SQL server. Yeah. So let's see how we can connect to the SQL server. Yeah. Now, first of all, from my system, I have connected to the SQL server many times. So that's why it would be easier. I just need to enter the server name here. If I have a query to be written, like a select query with a where clause, I can write it here. Yeah. I just need to enter the server name here. So how will I do that is I'll just browse the server name from my SQL server. So my server name is this, yeah, and my authentication is Windows authentication. So what I can do is I can copy this server name. I'll come here, I'll paste it. So this is my server name. I'll use this. Now I need to pull the table directly. Yeah, so I can click on OK. Yeah. Now, if you see here, I have two connectivity mode. Yeah. One is import and the other is direct query. Yeah. So what is the difference between import and direct query? Yeah. So in import, again, as we connect the Excel file and bring in the data inside Power BI, same way we will have to do if we are going with import. Yeah. So what will happen is the version of the data would be cached inside the Power BI report, right? But if you do direct query, what will happen? It only stores the connection string, and the data would be directly connected or browsed from the original data source. Okay, so we need to select the data connectivity mode according to the requirement. Yeah, so if it's a big table which will take a longer time to load, then go with direct query. Yeah, if it's small tables, then import mode will work. Yeah, okay. So this time we'll go with import, and then in future I will also show you how the direct query looks like. Okay, so let's use the import, but I'll hit okay. Yeah. So now I am connected to the SQL Server. I just need to select the table that I need to connect, right? So let's select a table. Let's say I need to use the baseball data or employee case study. Let's take the sales table here. So I have sales table, products, employees, and customer. Yeah. So four tables I would be loading in. Yeah. So I'll now hit load. So what will happen? All the four tables would be loaded inside your Power BI. Yep. So now the SQL Server tables are loaded. Yep. Which is here. Now let's say, as I said, I have connected to this SQL Server many times. That's why it didn't prompt me to use or change the credentials that I need to use to access this. Yeah. So if I need to change the credential, let's say my normal Windows ID does not have the access to the database. Yeah. So in that case, what I can do is I will go to data source settings again. Yeah. I'll click on this database. And if I need to change the credentials, I'll click on edit permissions. Now you have the credential section. Yeah. So you can see that type is Windows. For example, if you have the database credentials, so you can use the database. If you have the Microsoft account, which has the access to it, you can have the Microsoft account, right? So right now, for this SQL Server database, I have the access using my Windows credentials. So I'll keep it as it is. Yeah. Let's save this. Now this was about the SQL Server connection. Yeah. Now let's try to connect to the SharePoint as well and see what options we will get. Yeah. So let's go to the browser. First, we will access the SharePoint and see what all is there, and then we will decide which data to load. So share is my SharePoint. Okay. Now in this SharePoint, uh, let's go to Power BI training. Do we have list here? No. Yeah, this is my site. And in this, I have the uh, folder. So this is the folder, right? When I say folder, means under SharePoint, you have folders wherein you have these Excel files. Yeah. Plus you have a list as well. So what is a list? List is like an Excel kind of a data or a table kind of a data directly added to the SharePoint. Yeah, so you have two types of data here. Yeah, so one is the folder wherein you can just upload an Excel file or upload a CSV or something like that. Yeah, into the um, into the SharePoint folder. Yeah. The other way is you can create a table inside SharePoint. Yeah. So these are the two kinds of data that we have. Yeah. So we will try to connect to both of them. Yeah. So we will connect to SharePoint's folder and we will also connect to SharePoint's list. Okay. So let's say I have this list. I need to connect to this list. Yeah. So in this case, what I'll do is I don't need to copy the complete URL. Yeah. What I need to do is I just need to copy till the sites and then whatever is the site name. So this is my site name. I'll just copy this. I'll come here. Now, the data that we just saw was a SharePoint list, right? So go to more and select SharePoint list. Okay. So I have this list of data sources that are available, right? Now I will go to online sources. I'll say SharePoint online list, right? Because that was a list. So I'll select SharePoint online list. I'll hit connect. I'll paste the URL. Yeah. Version can be any, like one or two. Yeah. That's not an, there's no issue in that. Yeah. Then hit OK. Yeah. Again, as I've connected to the SharePoint many times um, from my system, that's why it is not giving me the option to enter the credentials, right? Now it has given me directly the further option to select that list which you are trying to connect. So what is my list? It's the financial sample. Yeah. So I can click on it and I will load the data. Okay. So the financial sample SharePoint list is also loaded. Yeah. Now, if you go ahead and see under the data source settings, you will see this SharePoint. Yeah. Now, if you need to change how you connect or access this SharePoint list, you can click on Edit Permissions, click on Edit. Yeah. So you again see three kinds of option. For SharePoint, remember it's always Microsoft. Yeah. So you have to use Microsoft account and then hit sign in. Yeah. So here it says you are already signed in. Yeah. So if you need to change the credentials, you can use sign in as a different use. Okay. And delete this. It's not connecting to the server, I think. Yeah. Sometimes this kind of issues also comes. Yeah, so it is not connecting to the server currently. But after a while, we can try it again and it would go through. Yeah. So this was SharePoint list. Now, what about SharePoint folder? What if I have to connect to a SharePoint folder? Yeah. Then what I will do is again go to the get data, go to more, search for SharePoint, and it would list all. So you have SharePoint folder, online list, and an on-premises list. So I'll select SharePoint folder, connect it. Now I need to enter the URL. So let's say here I have this vaccine state-wise Excel file. Yeah, I need to connect to this. Again, what I'll do is I'll do the same thing. Site and then the site's name. That's it. Copy it, paste it here, hit OK. Okay. So now this time, when we are connecting to a folder and then we need to extract a specific Excel file, what you will do is you will not load, because what will happen is it will load the table which gives you the details of all the files that are available, yeah, in that particular folder. So the that won't be enough, right? You need to connect to that Excel file. Yeah. So to connect to that Excel file, what you will do is you will go to transform data, select the Excel file that you need. For example, I need the COVID vaccine state-wise Excel file, right? I need to load that table, that Excel file. So how will I do that? I will click on the binary of COVID vaccine data state-wise. I click on it, then I select the table that I need, and here I have the data. Yeah. So the table is loaded. So let's use this as the name of the table. Right? So like this, you will have to connect to the SharePoint folder. Okay. Clear, everyone? Any questions?
Sir, in SQL server, we can use store procedure as well, right?
Yeah, you can use the stored procedure. You just need to write that you or copy the stored procedure and then paste it here, and you will be able to load it.
Same thing there into the input that
Advanced options. Yeah.
advanced. Okay. So we cannot connect directly to the store procedure. We have to be copy the store procedure and paste it into that box, right?
Paste. Yeah. Because if you go to the SQL Server,
Mm-hmm.
you see the tables and you see the views listed, right? Directly.
Okay, but no,
Yeah.
yeah, but we cannot see the store procedure
So
there.
procedure directly. Yeah. That's why.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Hello,
So
sir.
that's, yeah. Go ahead.
Could you share SQL Server link? We will download and install.
Okay. So you need to install SSMS, right? So you
Yes,
can,
sir.
I'll just quickly give you that.
Okay.
Or do I have the download? Just let me check one second.
Okay.
I have the database backup files, but I don't have the exe file. Let me give you the URL. Yeah. So from here, you will be able to download it. Yeah. Download SSMS. I'll give you the URL here. Okay.
Okay.
And what I'll do is I'll create so these are the databases. I'll create a folder under our data set. Let me share the same URL with you. Okay, once you download and install the instance as well, that means create the instance, and then you can go to this URL. You will find a lot of databases. You can import that database first download this file and then import the database into your SSMS. Okay. Okay. And then you can start practicing with it. Yeah.
Yes.
Now, this was about connecting to the data sources. Right? Now, let's go ahead and see the Power Query Editor options. Okay. So we saw what is data source settings. Now we will move to the Power Query Editor. So when I click on transform data, a new window will appear. Yeah. That new window is called as Power Query Editor. You will see that at the top. Yeah. So now you have two parts of Power BI. One is called as Power BI Desktop. That is the front end. When you click on transform data, it goes to the back end, which is Power BI, Power Query Editor. Yeah. So Power Query Editor is what we are going to learn today and tomorrow. Yeah. Okay. So in Power Query Editor, what all you can do is you can do the data transformation, right? Like changing the data type of a column, changing or merging two column values, or extracting the date fields, like extracting the year, quarter, day, month. Yeah, any options like that you can do under data transformation. Yeah, you can also perform joins. Yeah, so instead of creating a relationship in the front end, you can go ahead with joins and bring in that columns directly into the existing table. Yeah, that these kind of things you can do it here. Yeah. So let's go through the options one by one. Yeah. So first is close and apply that we are aware of. Now let's see the table here. Yeah. Just give me a moment, guys. Yeah. So let's see the options that are available from here, and then we will move to this ribbon. Yeah, so we'll go through what are the data types here, what is the query settings, what are the queries here, what are the steps available, what are the options available here, and then we will move to the home tab, transform, add column, view, tools. Yeah, these are the options that you need to cover. Yeah, so starting from this, yeah. Now, if you see the preview of your table is available here. When I say preview, that means it's not the complete data. Yeah, you may have 40,000 rows in your table, right? But only the top 1,000 would be available for the preview. Yeah, here that means only for Power Query. Yeah, you can see that it says here as well, column profiling based on top 1,000 rows. Okay, so if you have more than 1,000, at the first glance, you'll only be able to see the top 1,000 rows. And then if you want to view more, then you can scroll down to the last row, that is 1,000. And then you can scroll again. Then it would start from 1,001 to 2,000. Yeah, like that it will go on, selecting the range of rows. Yeah. Okay. So we understood what is a column profiling here. That means it is only going to give you the top 1,000 rows, right? Then, if you want to change the data type of a particular column, yeah, let's say I need to change for this country. Yeah. Right now, if you see it's ABC. Yeah. So to change a data type of any column, it's very simple. Wherever the column name is, besides that column name, you will see an option like this ABC, or if you have a decimal, you will see 1.2. Yeah. So you can click on that, you will get the list of data types. Yeah. And from these data types, you can select what you need to assign to this particular column. Yeah. Right now we have all the text values, so we don't have to assign a data type. Yeah. For units sold, it's 1.2. For manufacturing price, it's 123. That means it is whole number. This is decimal. How did I identify that is if you click on it, it lists the data types and the symbol that we are using for that, or the icon that we are using for that. Yeah. So it becomes very easy to identify which data type is being assigned to which column. Yeah. So let's say that I need to change the manufacturing price from whole number to decimal. Yeah. So I can click on this. I'll select 1.2. Yeah. I already have the latest step is already change type. That means it is the data type change step. Yeah, that's why it is asking, do you want to update in the same step or you want to add it as a new step? Yeah. So if I say add it as a new step, you will see change type one. An additional step would be added. But here the data type would be changed currently. Yeah. But if I don't want an additional step, I just need to update this existing step. I will say 1.2 and that's a replace current. So you'll not see any step being added, but here the data type has changed. Okay, that's the two options that you see. Okay, so we understood how we can change the data type. It's very simple. Yeah. Then coming to the properties, right? The query settings. Now, query settings lists down all the data transformations that are being performed on this table. Yeah. So if you click on the first step, this is the source. Yeah. So remember, while connecting to a data, first what you do is you browse that Excel file. As this is coming from an Excel, you browse that Excel file. So source step, if you click on this icon, this is the edit icon, you will see the path, right? The Excel file path. Second step is selecting the table. Yeah, so if you click on this edit, yeah, to select the table is the second step called as navigation. Yeah, so once you select the step, once you select the sheet or the table, yeah, after that navigation step, Power BI automatically tries to detect the data type of the columns based on your values. Yeah. So for each column, whatever values it has, based on that, it will try to assign a data type to it. Yeah. That's what it does. That's why you will see a changed type option, the change type step automatically applied, right? So if you remember, when we tried to load the table, we didn't change any data type, right? We use the data as it is, right? So what we understood is Power BI takes on that responsibility and Power BI does the data type change so that it is easier for us to use. Yeah. Okay. So that's about this applied steps. Yeah. Now, if you see, if I do any transformation, like let's say I don't want this discount band column, I'll right click on it. I'll say remove. As soon as I remove that, a step is added. Yeah. Okay. Called as remove columns. Okay. Now, coming to the extreme left-hand side, we have this queries section, right? In this queries section, you will see all the tables listed, and it is called as query. Why it is called as query? Because each table is as a M query inside Power Query Editor. Yeah. What do you mean by M query is like whenever you connect to a data, in the backend, mQuery is what runs and gives you the results, right? So mQuery is written in the background. Yeah. So whenever you select something, whenever you select a new data source, mQuery runs in the background. If you need to see the mQuery, you can go to the Home tab and click on Advanced Editor. Yeah. This is the script or this is the query that runs in the background. Yeah. Now, don't get afraid of this script that is there. You don't have to write like this. Yeah. But it's very simple and easy to read and easy to identify what is happening here. Right. So if you see, yeah. So if you see here, what it says is it starts with let and ends with in, right? And whatever the last step is, that is mentioned after in. Yeah. So if you see the first step, right? The same way we saw the applied steps, right? If you compare the source step is what this is. So what it is doing, source is excel.workbook. So we are connecting to a workbook. that is the source. And in that, this is the file path. Now the second step, which was navigation, here if you see it's financial table. So it is just selecting the table in the second step. That is what we come to know. Source, yeah. If you see the table name here equal to, yeah, whatever is before equal to is the name of that step. Okay. And then source item is financials. Yeah. What is the kind of that data? It's a table kind of data, and the data is loaded here, right? Then the change type step, right? Which is auto-generated by Power BI. So you'll see here, you can easily read it like transform column types. Yeah. So what is going to do is it is going to transform the column types on which table? Financials table. That means the previous step. Then it gives you the column name, and it also gives you what data type is being assigned, right? So we know unit sold is decimal. So let's see what is decimal here. Decimal means number, right? Sales price has whole number, so it is integer, right? My date field has a date data type, so let's see what it is, date, right? Now, if you see the color codings, whatever is in red, yeah, that is in hard coded text or the column name or the file path. Yeah. Whatever is in blue is the function. Yeah. Whatever is in green is the data type. Yeah. Like this, you can read the M query. Yeah. Easy. Even in future, when a new table, if you see a new table, you can always go to the advanced editor and read through the M query, and you will understand what is happening, right? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So that's about the M query. Now let's see if we right click on a particular query, what all options do we have? Yeah. So first is copy, which is self-explanatory, paste, delete, rename. We all are familiar with these kind of options. Yeah. Next is enable load. If you see enable load is the option and there is a tick mark, right? Let's say that I need a table here. Yeah. So I have the sheet 2, correct? What I need is I need this department and designation column to be physically present in sheet 1. Yeah. So there is an option of merge queries, which we will learn in our next session. Yeah. We will use that and bring in these two columns, department and designation, physically here. Yeah. So here in this area that you see, here it would be appearing. Yeah. So once it is there in sheet 1, I don't need to separately load sheet 2 in the front end. When I say load in the front end, that means here you can see sheet 2 and sheet 1, right? So what I can do is I can right click on sheet 2. I'll uncheck this box for enable load. Yeah. What will this do? Let's apply the changes, because whatever transformation you do, unless and until you apply it, it won't appear in the front end. So now if I go to the front end, you will not see the table at all. Yeah. But there is a risk here. Yeah. What is the risk? If you can see this table, this was the table that was coming from sheet 2, right? It has now gone into an error. Yeah. Let's say I didn't build any calculated column or measure in that, but if I had a calculated column in sheet 2, or if I had a calculated measure in that sheet 2, then I would not be able to recover even if I enable the load from the backend now. Yeah, because once it is gone, it's gone, right? Okay. So we have to be very careful before disabling the load. Yeah, disabling the load the into the front end. Okay. So we need to be careful for that. Yeah. So let's say now I have disabled it. Okay. If I want to enable it again, what I can do is right click. You can see it's unchecked. So I can click on it. I'll say apply the changes. Now you'll be able to see the visual and you'll be able to see the data. Yeah. So the visual can be restored, but your measures cannot be. Yeah. Just keep that in mind. Yeah. So if you have measures created or if you have a calculated column created, then you should avoid disabling the data for such a table. Okay. Yeah. Clear till here, everyone? Any questions? Questions?
Sir, how can we go with that query editor? Sorry, I missed that.
Yeah, that's simple. From the home tab, you have this transform data. Click on it, you will be here.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
Okay. We saw what is enable load. What is include in report refresh? If you disable this, what will happen in the front end? You have this refresh button, right? So this refresh will not include that table for which you have disabled the refresh. So that would be as if a static table. Okay. Yeah, that's what disabling the refresh means. Yeah. Let's move further. After this, we have duplicate and reference. So what is duplicate and what is reference? Yeah. So if you see, I have 5 steps here. Yeah, 5 applied steps, right? If I duplicate this table, we all know what duplicate means. It will duplicate the entire table, right? So while duplicating it, it will also duplicate all the steps that are there. Yeah. So here I have, sorry, here I have 3 steps. So same 3 steps would be available here as well, right? So that means the complete query would be rewritten in duplicate, right? But when we reference it, what happens is makes the connection to the original table. So if you see this financials 3, here you only, if you look at the M query, it only says source is equal to financials. What does that mean? It is connecting to this financials query, which is here, right? So I understood the difference between duplicate and reference. Duplicate means the whole table would be again loaded. Reference means it connects to whatever the latest version of your table is. Yeah. Let's say here, I deleted the segment column. Sorry. I deleted the segment column. Yeah. If you go to the duplicated version of the table, segment column would still be there. But if you go to the referenced table, the segment column won't be there. Why? Because it is taking whatever is the latest version of the data. When I say latest version, that means after doing all the transformations, whatever the output comes in, that is what is being used in the reference column, in the reference table. Yeah. Okay. Understood duplicate and reference?
Yeah. Sir, here we cannot write any query into that query editor like that. You shown us before, advanced, into the advanced editor. So
Yeah,
here,
further you can do the transformation. Like let's say if I want to change the data type again here. Yeah. So that
Mhm.
would be in this version. Yeah. That would be in this version. Okay. So the change type here, what I have done is I have referenced the table, and after referencing the table, I'm doing this change. Yeah. So this change that follows will be restricted to this table. That means in the original table, your data type won't change for this particular column. Okay. Yeah. Understood? What's the difference? Okay. So duplicate and references. After that, we have move to group. That is just we can create a folder kind of thing with the tables, right? Let's say all the database tables, which are these. Yeah, I will group that and bring it into one folder. Yeah, so I can say move to group, new group. I'll say SQL DB, right? Okay, and then I can move these tables here. Yeah, this is just for our reference. Okay, in the front end, you will not see this kind of things like table and then under, sorry, folder, and then under that, you will have so many tables like that. Yeah, you will not see that. Yeah, this is just for our references. Yeah, so from SharePoint, we have these two, right? So I'll say move to group. I'll say new group. Okay, here I'll say SharePoint. Okay, so I have two folders like this. Yeah, so you can create a group, create a folder out of that. Okay. Yeah. Then after that folder, we have create function. We will learn that in our next session, how to create a function and what does that function will help us. Yeah. Then we have the advanced editor, which we have already seen, the mQuery. Yeah. And then we have properties, which has nothing. It just has the name, the property name, and the query name. And then the two options that we already saw, disabling the load and including it in the report refresh. Yeah. So these are the options when you right click on a specific table. Yeah. So what all do we learn is we have gone through the queries. What are the queries? What is the query setting? What are the tables and how are the data types? Yeah, I think today was a very short session. I need to start with this options, but if we start, we need to go with the flow because we'll only be able to cover few of the options today. Yeah, so let's start with a new session tomorrow. And in that session, we will cover all these. These are all the basic options. The major option starts with split column, group by, merge query and append query. These are the two important options, which also comes into interviews as well. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So let's stop here for today.
सर
Yeah.
सर शेयर पॉइंट सर हम क्रिएट करते हैं कि बाय डिफॉल्ट क्रिएट रहता है
SharePoint developers create करेंगे.
और सर हम जब फाइल जब शेयर करेंगे किसी को अगर विजुअलाइजेशन जब हम क्रिएट करेंगे तो वो कैसे करेंगे मतलब वो पूरा ये पूरा उसके पास भी मतलब सामने वाले के पास भी ये चाहिए क्या ये ऐप पावर बीआई
नहीं समझा नहीं. अगर आपको ये शेयर करना है किसी के साथ
हाँ
तो
शेयर
आप
करना है
पावर
हाँ
BI सर्विस से शेयर करोगे. डेस्कटॉप शेयर करने की जरूरत नहीं है। आप कहाँ पे शेयर करोगे? यहाँ पे। यहाँ पे आप रिपोर्ट व्यू करते हो। दिस इज दी एंड रिजल्ट। Okay. So let's say I have this HR. So this report, it was built in Power BI Desktop, published to Power BI Service. अब यहाँ से हम share कर सकते हैं users को. So once I share it, they will be able to see it directly in the browser.
पावर बीआई सर्विस पे कैसे जाएंगे?
app.powerbi. और यहाँ पे जाने के लिए आपको साइन इन लगेगा जो Office 365 आईडी है. So the ID that I gave you, you can use that. So develop the report, you can publish it to the Power BI service, and then you can go ahead.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Any other questions, anyone? Okay. No questions. All right, then. So let's stop here for today. Yeah. And we'll connect tomorrow. And after connecting, we'll start with the actual Power Query topics. Yep.
Yeah.
All right, then. I hope you have copied the URLs that I have provided, because if I stop the meeting, the URL won't be available for you. Yeah. Copy both of the URLs that are there.
Yes, 2 years.
Let me know once you have copied it. Okay.